why any international students planning to join California Baptist University?
I think a few reasons. One, our location. I mean, we're in the middle of Southern California. So you have access to Los Angeles, you have access to the mountains, to the beaches, to Disneyland, beautiful weather, and builds in activities to help you take advantage of those Southern California opportunities.
Now, I would like to ask you a question about the graduate program. Like, what are the English language requirement and test you are accepting at the California Baptist University?
I think one of the other things that's important to note about our graduate programs and one of the benefits of why students might choose CBU is the career outcomes. Our students are successful when they graduate. Our OPT hired rate is 98%.
98% success ratio for OPT. That means if 100 students are joining California Baptist University, 98% students are getting OPT in the career market, in the job market. This is the amazing news and amazing university for you students. Hello guys, this is Darshan Shah from DBBIT Consultant. How are you all? I am today with California Baptist University. Is a very famous university in India, especially in Gujarat. Lots of physiotherapy students are going to California Baptist University for their Master of Kinesiology program, exercise science program, and they are providing excellent ecosystem for those kind of students. And today I have a Joe from California Baptist University,
Yeah.
and he is an international graduate advisor and director. Today we are bringing you a top most ethical and transparent information with you. And we are going to ask lots and lots of questions to Joe about California Baptist University. So please watch this video till the end. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. How are you doing today?
Doing well. It's been really enjoyable to see a lot of our partners, to see you, and hear about the work going on with international students.
Right. The first question I have about the California Baptist University, like why any international students why any international students planning to join California Baptist University?
Yeah, I think a few reasons. One, our location. I mean, we're in the middle of Southern California. So you have access to Los Angeles, you have access to the mountains, to the beaches, to Disneyland, and CBU builds in activities to help you take advantage of those Southern California opportunities.
Wow.
And of course, along with that is the weather.
Weather, yeah.
Beautiful weather.
Weather, yeah.
Your bones aren't going to be cold. We have no snow, so you're going to be warm throughout the year. Very comfortable.
It's very comfortable for the Indian people.
Absolutely.
Because I think I think there is no snow in California, right?
Very little.
Very lot snow.
We do have access to the mountains, about 40 minutes away. And so during the winter, you can go to the snow, visit it, and then come back to the nice weather.
Oh, wow. That's a great information.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I would like to ask you a question about the graduate program. Like, what are the English language requirement and test you are accepting at the California Baptist University?
Yeah, I think one of the other things that's important to note about our graduate programs and one of the benefits of why students might choose CBU is the career outcomes. Our students are successful when they graduate. Our OPT hired rate is 98%.
98%?
98%.
That's
That's
great.
from all our 2023 graduates, and we're also ranked #1 by Wall Street Journal for career preparation. I preface that because that means our requirements, we have a certain standard because we need to make sure our students are serious and that they're going to be prepared to earn those jobs when they graduate. So, in terms of the language requirements, for graduate students, we can take an IELTS of 6.0, our individual band below 5.5. We can take a PTE of 53,
Okay.
or we can take a TOEFL of 80.
Okay.
Now, that said, we do also offer an intensive English program.
Okay.
What that allows us to do, that means that if a student doesn't have a language proficiency score, they can still apply. They can still receive conditional admission with our intensive English program. They can test, and maybe it's just a writing course that they can add on to their program. Maybe it's additional courses, or they test out altogether. But that gives us the flexibility to help get our students in the best path forward to be successful and earn those jobs when they graduate.
Oh, wow. That's a great information. It's a 98% success ratio for OPT, right?
That's correct.
That means if 100 students are joining California Baptist University, 98% students are getting OPT in the career market, in the job market. This is the amazing news and amazing university for you students. Hold on for a minute. I have a more question for you as well. The question I have is like, do you accept Duolingo?
Great question. So for undergraduate students, we do have a Duolingo score that we can receive and that we can confirm. If you have a 105, that's sufficient for language proficiency. However, on the graduate side, we don't have a set score. So we can't tell you, we can't post that if you get this score, it's sufficient for language proficiency. We would encourage you to take a TOEFL, an IELTS, or a PTE. However, if you already have a Duolingo, you're welcome to submit it. We might still need an additional writing sample from you for our Director of Intensive English program to review to see if that student is in the right fit in the program, but we don't have a set score for Duolingo.
Okay. And like as you said, like IELTS 6 is the minimum requirement for the grad admissions, right?
That's correct.
For all the program or for the specific program?
That's for all graduate programs.
Okay. So
That's
students, if you have a 6 in IELTS and if you like to apply to different university or maybe a California Baptist University, this is the best choice for you. And if you want more information, comment CBU into chat box and we will give you entire detail because IELTS 6 is accepted and lots of STEMs program are there. And I want to ask you, like, what are the STEM program you are offering
yeah,
at California Baptist
yeah, it's
University?
a great question. I want to give you a resource for anyone listening. Maybe we can include the links.
So yeah, I will drop a link into chat box. Just type CPU and I will give you and we will DM you entire information. Yes, go.
But calbaptist.edu/STEM. So calbaptist.edu/STEM, and you can see information about our STEM programs. You can see photos, facilities, undergraduate and graduate programs. Some of the popular graduate programs, of course, for STEM, we do have our Master of Business Administration MBA. If you choose the concentration in business analytics, that is STEM designated. Wow. We also have our Information Technology Management, also just a one-year program, very affordable in California, just under $23,000 for tuition and fees.
Right.
And that program is STEM designated. We also have our Master of Science in Computer Science, also a very affordable program, $18,500
Right.
per year. So that program is typically a year and a half to 2 years.
Okay.
Industrial Organizational Psychology. If you're looking for a psychology program that's STEM designated, this is one of the few programs that exist. So IO Psychology or Industrial Organizational Psychology. And then, of course, for our physiotherapy students, we have our Master of Science in Kinesiology with a concentration in exercise science. So if you select exercise science, that program is geared towards those, the background in physiotherapy, especially those who want to go into physical therapy, occupational therapy, athletic training. This is a great route for you. We do have additional STEM programs like our Master of Architecture,
Yeah.
our Master of Biomedical Sciences, but you can find all the programs on our link at
Yes, and if you want to see that link, just comment CBU to chat box, and we will provide you all the links and everything in your DM. Right now, I have a questions because in India, lots of students are doing a 15-year of educations. Do your university accepting 15-year of educations?
So are you referring specifically to like a 3-year bachelor's?
3 year bachelor.
That's correct. We do accept a 3-year bachelor's from India. And so if it is a bachelor's degree in India, we can accept that as a degree equivalent in order to apply to one of our master's programs.
Okay, so do student need any credential evaluations for that?
Great question. At CBU, we want to remove as many barriers as we can.
Well, that would be great. Yeah.
What that means for you is we do not require a credential evaluation. You submit your official transcript, which can be as easy as asking your university to email it to us from a verifiable email. And then we will evaluate it, determine a GPA, and prepare that for our program director to save you the money on an evaluation.
So that's a great information for all the students. CBU is not requiring credential evaluation. If anybody in market is telling that CBU is required credential evaluation, is a misleading information, or maybe it's a very is unethical practice we can say about it. Now I have a question. What will be the application fees for California Baptist University?
Yeah, great question. So if you're applying to CBU, the application fee is $45. However, we do have various promotions going on. We just had no fee November, which meant there was no fee on
No
the
fee either.
applications. We also have quite a few partners in India. So if you're working with one of our partners, they'll have their own unique promotional code that will waive the application fee, so you can apply for free with one of them.
Wow. Okay, and I have more questions about the applications. Like, what will be the application process to applying it in the California Baptist University?
Yeah. Again, we want to be about removing barriers. We want to
Yes.
get to the heart of the matter of preparing you for your education. So there's an online application. It's going to be your basic info. And in that application, you can either upload your personal statement, your SOP, or you can select to interview with the program director instead.
Okay.
And that's a graduate requirement. For undergraduate, you can either interview with the admissions counselor or just submit your essay. You can also upload your language score there, and we'll verify your TOEFL, your IELTS, PTE, if you're undergrad, your Duolingo, whatever it might be. And then you're going to submit that online application. After that, you're going to request your school to send the official transcript to us, whether it's a hard copy official or they just email from a verifiable email. And then once we have that transcript, we can put together your application review. Like if you're a graduate student, send it to the program director. If there needs to be an interview, they'll do that. If not, we'll get a decision and we'll email you back in 1 to 2 business days with an admissions decision.
Okay, so it will take only 2 days to release the
From
decision
completed
for the
application.
official application. Okay, and I have one question. Like, what are the common mistakes students are doing while they are applying to?
Yeah, this is some of the most commonly.
Yes, yes, common mistake.
The statement of purpose is actually for another institution. They forget to change the name of the institution.
Yeah.
They don't do their research about our programs. They tell us all about why they want to be in our Master's of Business Administration,
Right.
and they submitted a kinesiology application.
Ah,
That doesn't tend to go well.
yes.
Or they haven't done their research, and so they're citing information about our faculty or our programs that are inaccurate. So most of the issues are going to be found in that statement of purpose. So it's really important to know why you want to study at CBU. And let me tell you a few great reasons. One, the location and weather we already talked about. The career placement with the Wall Street Journal ranking of #1 for career placement, 90% of
90,
achievers.
right.
And then, of course, it's the faculty and the student experience. Our students feel like they're part of the family. I'm an alumni. An international admissions counselor for India, Daphne, she's an alumni. Our country representative, Deepak, who's in Hyderabad, he's an alumni. Josh, who's another international admissions counselor, alumni. My boss, alumni. Another counselor, alumni. Director of undergrad admissions, alumni. It's a great experience. Most of us love it and we stay. There's great reasons to study at CBU. Those are great things to identify that you've heard about the institution from this online. That's what we want to hear in your statement of purpose about why CBU. We don't want to hear the same answer you gave to another institution while still leaving their name in it. That's probably the most
Probably the most common area. Yes. Okay. Now, like, can you give me like, if any student? Okay. Now the question will be, like in India, if student has completed the Bachelor of Physiotherapy and Master of Physiotherapy, and they would like to come to USA, which program they can select at your institute?
Yeah. So if they have a background in physiotherapy, our Master of Science in Kinesiology with Exercise Science is the program designed to further that education right. Now, if they already have the Master's and they're still wanting to pursue the Master's with us, that's definitely understandable. They do need to disclose that they already have that Master's, and they'll want to articulate specifically. They need to just answer the simple question. You already have a Master's. Why do you want this Master? But there's plenty of good reasons for that. So tell us your reason. And if that reason is, I want to gain experience in this field in the United States, that's a great reason. But sometimes students try to hide that they already have the Master's. That's just not helpful. It's confusing.
It's confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a STEM program or non-STEM program?
It is a STEM program.
So that means if you have done Bachelor of Physiotherapy in India and if you are planning for study in California Baptist University and STEM program which leading to 36 months of OPT, this is a fantastic place for you to study, right? And can you tell me like what will be the placement ratio for those students who are coming on campus for pursuing their Master of Kinesiology?
Placement in terms of like admission rate or placement in terms
of jobs.
job market? Well, the 98 OPT percent placement rate for 2023 is across all of our graduates.
Okay.
The reality is that of all the students who applied, there was only one who didn't secure a job.
Okay.
So all the rest did. That one student was not a physiotherapy or exercise sciences student.
Students, okay.
So technically from 2023, 100% secured a job. Now, in the past, post-pandemic, the rate was 82%. Pre-pandemic was 89%. So there's been some variance, but virtually all of our Master of Science Kinesiology Exercise Science students are finding work upon graduation.
Okay, great. And one more question I have, like if any student in India completed their Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Business Administrations, Bachelor of Computer Application, which is a 15 year of educations, like 12 plus 3, what program they can take at California Baptist University?
Yeah, there's actually a few that you can select from, and I recommend it's really based on where you want to go. So with the commerce background or general business background, our Master of Business Administration is absolutely a great choice for you. And in particular, if you want that STEM designation, the business analytics concentration is where you want to go. That program is all in 1 year, 12 months, and that's going to have that STEM designation and take your education to the next level. If you're wanting to be in the IT field, maybe you have some computer applications background,
Yes.
but you want to be more on the business side, I highly recommend Information Technology Management. It's also a 1 year program. It's quite affordable. It's about 23,000 for the total tuition and fees this year. So it is less than our MBA Business Analytics, and that will have some tech, but it's management of tech. And so that's more the business side. Right. Now, if you have some coding background, there's maybe some software engineering or a little bit more on the computer side for the science, then I would highly recommend our Master of Science in Computer Science because that's going to help advance your education to the next level. And then in that program, you can either get a broad understanding of big data and AI and machine learning and cloud computing, or you can focus in one of those areas. So if you want more of that specific coding background, then the Master of Science Computer Science is for you.
Okay, and the question is that like majority of the time student getting confused that like they need to have a NAC accredited institute or what there will be any certain criteria for accepting 15 year of education. NAC institutes A plus B minus, or you just take A, like you can just take any of the institute for the admission.
Yeah, we require a 3-year bachelor's.
That's
So
great.
if the degree designation is a bachelor's, then we review it internally for degree equivalency. In general, though, outside of certain circumstances, which obviously can happen, it's 3-year bachelor's.
Wow.
And so if a student is unsure, we would love to have the student reach out. We can talk to them about it, take a look at what they're even just an unofficial to give them an idea and of assurance that they can reach out. We'll continue the process.
Right. And lots of international students are asking us about the scholarship. Like,
Mhm.
do your university offer scholarships?
Yeah, great question. So we have 3 different categories. We have academic scholarships, we have need-based grants, and we have departmental scholarships. So for academic scholarships, we have scholarships for undergraduate first-time freshmen and transfers. Undergraduate freshmen, it ranges up to 17,000 per year.
Okay.
For transfers, up to 13,000 per year. And then the next category is need-based aid. You have a global initiatives grant that accepted students can apply for if they need help reaching that I-20 requirement. And that can be for undergraduate students up to 10,000 or graduate students up to 10,000. So graduate students can also get some financial aid from the university. And then the third category is departmental aid. So you're studying architecture or you're studying graphic design or journalism. Some of these programs that have engineering that have their own additional scholarships, you can apply to that department to get those departmental scholarships.
Wow.
And those can stack up to help bring that cost out.
Right. And can you tell me about the tuition fee, graduate admission tuition fees for 1 year?
Yeah, so the graduate fees are going to range by program. So, for example, the business analytics, the tuition and fees for 1 year happens to also be that's the I-20 requirement, and that's the total cost. That's about 36,000. Then for ITM, for example, that's about 22,700. For computer science, it's about 18,500. So you can see these prices vary a little bit depending on the program, but for California, it's quite affordable. Now, estimated living expenses, this is cost of housing, food, textbooks, toothbrush, toothpaste, everything. That I-20 estimate for your living expenses for 12 months is about 32,000. Now, that's a little high for California. It's California.
It's really high. Yeah, yes, that's true.
But let me just let me explain a reason why, even though there's the highest living costs in California and New York, why they're still the top 2 destinations for international students. Higher cost of living also means typically higher minimum
Higher
wage.
credit wages, yes.
So our minimum wage in California is $16 per hour. There's plenty of on-campus jobs. Most of our international students, especially our students from India, they work on campus in food services, in the post office, athletics, for safety services, all over campus, our office. And those positions are guaranteed $16 per hour.
Right.
You can work up to 20 hours per week. So you do some math. I love math. I studied math.
Yes, 320.
16 times 20 times 16-week semesters times 3 semesters in a year, you can make about 15,000
USD.
per year.
But
And that's while you're a student.
yeah,
The salary minimum in California is over 64,000.
oh, that
So in your first year, you're going to make triple what you paid in your ITM program.
cheaper. Okay.
So you're going to be able to make that back. So when you're looking at total costs, if you're doing ITM and you're about 23,000, but you work on campus for 15,000, you're making back 2/3 of that cost while you're there. Then when you graduate, you earn that salary job, you're going to make back the rest of that. You're going to cover your living expenses. That living expenses of 32,000 was 1 year. So if you're working 3 years OPT at 60,000 times 3 years is 180,000 USD. Your return on investment
is
quite.
quite good. Yeah.
So this is why California 32,000 living expenses for I-20, that's so high.
So yeah.
But you're going to make that back because it's California.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yes. So I have one more question. Like, if any international students are coming to USA, and if they are joining any institute, like what kind of on-campus jobs they can do while they are pursuing their bachelor degree or maybe a master degree.
Yeah. So I mentioned some of them.
Yes.
Just to reiterate, athletics, safety services, that could be like parking or in the office, dispatch. We have the postal service. Many of our students work in the food services.
Okay.
Our dining is all on our campus, it's all ours. And it's actually ranked top 5 in the US, just like our campus facilities themselves. So our food's really good. But to do that, it takes a lot of manpower. So there's lots of jobs there as well. There's also TAs or teaching assistantships. There's very few competitive graduate assistantships. So, for example, kinesiology hires about 1 or 2 a year. Now, to give you perspective, that's about 1% out of students. So, students shouldn't necessarily bank on that, but if they're already at CBU and they're doing well and they have that relationship with the faculty, that's an opportunity. There's positions in international student services. There's positions in intensive English programs, study abroad, international admissions, international programs. That's all international offices. There's so many offices and departments on campus that are hiring student workers that students who are serious about pursuing an on-campus job, they'll have
So
resources.
do you have a different portal for that, or like how yeah does can apply
Great question. So our student application job board is through Handshake. If you're
Okay.
familiar with that job.
Handshake, yes.
So if you want to see all the career preparation resources for international students, calbaptist.edu/INTL career.
Career. Okay.
So INTL for international, career, INTL career, and that you can see the on-campus job search, which you can start looking for jobs once you're enrolled, because then we activate your account. You can see resources for mock interviews, for future job preparation, career fairs. You can also have access to platforms like F1 Hire, which we highly recommend. They're a great resource. The university pays for our students. It allows students to filter job search down by ones that are hiring for OPT or even potentially sponsoring for H-1Bs. So that's definitely helpful on the post-degree job search, but our resource Handshake can help for the on-campus job.
That's a great information, students, that if you are looking for the on-campus job, California Baptist University have a lots and lots of on-campus job, so you don't have to worry about it. You can easily cover your monthly expense by working on campus, right? Now, the basic, the main, or I can say is a top important questions I have for you. Why you guys are asking 3 months old financial documents from international students?
Yeah, so one of the questions that we actually require students to explain is their financial background, because we have to vouch for that on the I-20. Okay. In fact, we have to put numbers down that match what a student might be carrying into their visa interview, what they're putting down in their application. And so it's really important that these things are actually lining up and they make sense.
Right.
So we actually don't require 3 months of history of
Okay.
students. We require a recent statement that's within the year,
Okay.
and we need the accurate statement. It has to be official, directly from the date, and that amount has to show the liquid funds that are available.
Right.
The reason why is actually not a CBU requirement. It's a U.S. government
Yes,
requirement.
we'll go over it more.
They need to know that there is liquid funds to cover a full year of tuition and fees and estimated living expenses, even beyond the actual living expenses maybe for on-campus housing, which we do offer on-campus housing, even for grad students.
Okay.
But there's a little extra that they need to show. That needs to be demonstrated so that the U.S. government has confidence that these students are prepared when they enter the country. Yes, they're able to afford their tuition and fees with living expenses.
And there is also one more things like often you are asking like bank can courier the financial documents to your institute, or there will be any other way around, because lots of Indian banks are unable to send official documents to your university. Then how we can solve this problem?
So actually, our top country applications where students have their bank send us statements directly from their bank by email is actually India. It's the top country on the planet that has their bank send verified bank statements from their bank to the institution.
Okay, so in Indian banks are sending the official bank statement to you.
To international at calbaptist.edu.
Oh wow, that's a fantastic news, because we are struggling a lot in last couple of months about sending those financial documents. But I think by this podcast, I will get back to the students, and you can show this podcast to your bank manager and tell them to email the documents to the university.
Yes. Now,
Right.
often a bank needs permission from a student. So students can need to either provide that via email or bank request. It depends on the bank and their process, but they need to provide a official request.
Okay.
They need to provide our email. And occasionally we've had banks email us and say, please verify that you're requesting this document. We confirm, and then they send us the statement.
Wow, that's a great information. Okay. And do you accept what kind of liquid funds do you accept at the California Baptist University?
Yeah, so we accept that, like all US institutions are required because they're 20. The definition that you use there is liquid. They have to be liquid. What that means is that those are not funds that you will have in the future.
In the future, yeah.
It's not income that's coming in minus your expenses. These are funds that are actually sitting in the account and are available.
Okay. Okay. So do you accept loan for issuing the I-20?
Yeah, we do. And so if they have an educational loan and they have the loan statement, we can use that funds as well.
Okay, okay. The students, if you are applying for I-20 on the loan, California Public University is accepting the loan later, so you don't have to worry to show a fund in your saving account or maybe a liquid funds, a lots of funds. Maybe you can utilize the loan. And if you want more information, comment CBU into chat box, and we will provide you entire details. Okay. Now, what one piece of advice you can give to international students to crack the US student visa interview?
So the US student visa interview, that gets a lot of attention. Everyone thinks they go into the interview, they say, "What's your name?" They answer their name, Jimmy, rejected. And they think the answer is because everyone gets rejected on that day. That's not true.
No, it's not.
They think it's because they didn't smile as a minor or something like that. That's not true. Often students think it's the last question that they got asked that's the reason for their denial. It's not true. The majority of the visa decision is made off the application. Okay, looking at the application. The interview is there to confirm or potentially overturn what they were suspecting
Right.
from the
From
application.
GS 164.
That's correct. And in that application, the thing that needs to be demonstrated is strong ties to home.
Okay.
That is the primary thing because the student visa is a non-immigrant visa. The path is not to come to be a student and then stay in the United States. The path is to come be a student. Part of those student benefits include work experience. You maintain your status, you graduate in good standing, apply for a job on OPT, you're able to work on that F1 status, complete that, and return home.
Right.
And so they're needing to understand and confirm. This is all posted on our State Department site. This is all available. The student needs to overcome the presumption of immigrant intent. That is the wording on the site.
On the side.
We
Okay.
overcome the presumption. That is, we are presuming that you're actually coming on the wrong status to immigrate, not on this non-immigrant status at F, and you need to demonstrate that this is you have a non-immigrant intent. And those strong ties to home vary by students. It could be family business background. It could be jobs waiting for them back home. It could be property they own. It could be it varies by student. So there's no set thing. But one of the worst things that students do is when they learn this, which is really helpful to learn, they then go in and think, I'm going to memorize an answer that's going to be so good. You have a problem. That doesn't match your visa application. Or in your visa application, you said, oh, I don't have any family in India because you don't want them to think that you're going to just lose your family.
Yeah.
That's not helpful because if anyone before you in your family has entered on a visa status, the U.S. has access to that information. There's no reason to lie. That's not a knock against students to have family there. In fact, that might be a benefit. You have family there that's going to help you with culture shock or adjustment, just cheer you on to finish your degree. There's plenty of reasons why all the reasons a student should be as truthful and honest about their situation.
Right.
Be clear, actually know where you're going. One of the favorite things is you give an interview. They're like, "Why are you going to California Baptist University?" And they say, "We're going to the Baptist Public University of California." That's not who they are. We're a private university. You don't even know that. Or they say, "Where is this institution?" And they say, "San Francisco." It's near Silicon Valley. The visa officers like, this says Riverside, not the Los Angeles. So you need to actually know what you're applying for and why. And if you have true student intent, be honest. And I would highly recommend, especially if you're applying with CVU, do a visa mock interview with your admissions counselor. Daphne Keeling, our admissions counselor, is an expert at helping our students understand the university so they can better articulate what's honestly already there about their true student intent.
Great. So if you are applying to California Baptist University and if you are looking for the visa help, the university itself is helping you for the mock visa interview. What else you want? This is the best help and this is the best advice is you are getting from the California Baptist University. Comment CBU into chat box and we will provide you entire details. And if you have already applied from any agent, it doesn't matter. Comment CBU and we will help you to streamline your process with the California Baptist University. Okay. Now what advice you could give to international students to be a successful in USA? What they have to focus after coming to USA?
Yeah, I think a few things would be helpful. One would be when you're planning to come to university, connecting to other students that you know from home, maybe their friends that are now current students or alumni, connect with them and ask the university for, do you have any current students that can maybe help me when I arrive?
Right.
That's great. But then you can't stay there. You also need to connect to other students. Don't just stay in your immediate community. Connect with other students, American students, other international students from different countries. That will help you integrate into the campus.
Right.
And then I would say, show up to your class. The worst thing you can do is say, well, it's the first class. I'll miss it. It's fine. Maybe I'll take a backlog. There's no backlogs in the United States. And attendance in class, participation in class is very important.
Very important.
So show up to your very first class on time, ready to learn and engage. It's going to be a different learning experience from what you've had back home.
Right.
And that's why you're doing this. So come in ready to experience the new thing.
Right. Okay. Now, if any students got admission from California Baptist University and they are heading towards the visa interview, like how they can convince the visa interview about California Baptist University? Like, what are the points they can tell to visa officer to impress, or maybe you can say about to justify their status, or maybe justify their admissions?
Yeah. So again, going back to overcoming the presumption of immigrant intent, the goal here is not to have the impressive words or the right answers or the magic things to unlock it, because your visa interview is only 5 to 10% of the decision. The majority of the decision is made off your application.
Application. Okay.
And the things that they're looking for are real, true, strong ties to home. And the goal again in all of that is to overcome the presumption of immigrant intent. F1 is a non-immigrant visa. That means that the purpose is not to get you to immigrate to the US. It's to come study, work on your student visa, and return.
All right.
So there's no magic words for the visa officer. It's actually just the honest truth.
Honest truth. Right.
Tell the visa officer why you picked CBU.
Right.
Tell the visa officer if they ask you where it is or what you're studying, actually know that information. Again, asking or telling the visa officer you want to go to California Baptist University, and they say, why did you pick this location? You say, because it's really close to Silicon Valley. It's not.
Not
That's California is a long state.
in the state.
That's up here. We're down here. We're next to Los Angeles. So what you don't want to do, it's actually things to prevent doing rather than things to make sure you're proactive to do. Things to not do are have false information about the university, your program, or your intent. Because all that tells the visa officer is, are you sure you're actually going to study here? Because you don't even know where.
No, yeah, yes, that's true. Okay, the question is that how many intakes you are providing?
Yeah, so most of our programs have a fall and a spring intake. So that's end of August for classes beginning early September. And then that's Jan as an intake. So that's usually arriving after the first week, getting oriented, and then starting class in that next week. And then some programs offer a summer intake as well in May. Those programs are grad programs, and they're programs that they do have to be language proficient. There is no conditional admission with IUP. They do have to have a language score, right? Because we don't have the intensive English program in the summer.
Oh, okay, great. And I have a questions about like, according to you, which intake is really good for international students?
So both fall and spring are great.
Okay.
I would highly recommend fall. Fall is when there's a lot more, start of the year momentum at the institution. That's also when a lot of American students are starting.
Okay.
On the graduate program side, though, it's pretty common to do both. But here's something I would say about the Jan intake. Students often, they're allowed to enter the country 30 days before programs start.
Yeah.
Earliest admission date is on your ITA. So students come mid-December. Do you know what's closed mid-December? All the universities. Yes, they're closed. So it's the coldest time of the year. However, in California, it's not that bad.
Not that bad, yeah.
But you're alone. You don't have university resources. You just travel. Maybe you got sick, and you have health insurance, but you don't know how to use it yet because you haven't talked to them.
You haven't talked to them, right?
Come when the university reopens in January. CBU provides our own free transportation.
Wow.
On the program start date. So this next intake is January 7th. On January 7th, there will be CBU buses arriving to Los Angeles Airport to pick up students, take you to campus, That's when you should come because now you're going to have a seamless transition. So the fall intake, we're open, students have resources and access, even if they're early. The only thing I would mention about the Jan intake is coming in mid-December. Sometimes that's a difficult time to enter the United States because it's the holidays.
It's a holiday. Yes,
Everything is
everything is closed. Yes. Okay. Now I have a question like how do you yeah. I have a question like what will be the holistic approach of application review? That means how do you review a international student application and what you are looking in international students applications?
great question. So years ago, we realized that everyone was sending virtually the same template of letters of recommendation.
Okay.
So we removed that because it's not helpful.
Okay.
Everyone's saying the same thing. They're saying, you're good.
You are good.
So it's not helpful. GRE and GMAT, these are tests that are not always the best indicators of success in an American classroom that includes participation, attendance, engagement with other students and faculty. So we don't require that. We're down to looking at the bachelor's transcript for a grad student and their personal statement, their statement of purpose, or if they do an interview with the program director.
Wow.
Those two things then carry a lot of weight.
Right.
So we want to make sure there's no set backlog maximum. However, lots of backlogs tell us that you may not be ready for the US system where you can't just do a backlog and show up to an exam later. It doesn't work like that. You're going to carry EPs in your courses. And so they may not be ready right now for that education. So backlogs are an important factor. GPA is an important factor. Program fit is an important factor. And that is measured both by their degree background, though that's not always exclusive. You don't have to have a business background to do our MBA, but that's certainly something we would consider. And then your statement of purpose. We want to hear why you think CBU is a good fit for you and can help you advance your education and career. And if you can't answer that simple question, we're not sure that maybe this is the right fit. So there's a lot of weight on the transcript and degree background with GPA and the statement of purpose.
Wow, I think there's a fantastic info. All the information we got it from Joe about California Baptist University is totally authenticate and the crystal clear. And if you are like to apply to California Baptist University, please comment CBU into chat box and we will provide you entire detail. In this podcast, we have covered undergraduate requirement, graduate requirement. What are the popular program at California Baptist University? What are the on-campus jobs opportunity available for you? Also, how do you perform in visa interview? Also, what skill you need to succeed in USA, and lots of questions about the scholarships programs and also the application review process. I think this is a fantastic information you will get in this podcast. Just watch this podcast till end because you I don't want you to miss any of the information because it's a full of information and educated podcast you can say about it. Last question I have, lots of students have confusion that agent have a upper hand on university. That means they can accelerate the admission decision for the students. Is it true?
Great question. No and yes. No, in the sense that it's not any type of advantage for getting admitted or admission. But sometimes at the university, if you have a question, they know who to access because they've just been talking to us. Yes. So sometimes communication can be helped by agent. But I also would say sometimes that makes it difficult because now we play a game of telephone. I tell you, you tell someone, they tell a counselor, that counselor tells the student says, but what about this? Now it goes back through the chain. So what we like to do is if a student is working with an agent, let's all be in the same email thread or same WhatsApp chat. Or if they're not working with an agent, our counselors, Daphne, is available to our students on WhatsApp so you get information directly from the source. So working with an agent, they are familiar with our process. They've done it before. So working with them can really help you because without even having to get access to us in a different time zone, you already can get the answer.
Right, right.
But not working with an agent is not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt your admission. We can help with the application. Daphne can help with your visa preparation, all of that.
Yeah.
And if there's one resource I can just add, it's Education USA. Follow Education USA. They have education about the visa process, the U.S. education system. They're great partners. We love everyone at Education USA. I highly recommend learning from them, follow their social media, use their resources.
The education US is a very popular in India and it's like they are doing a lots of education awareness fair in India. Also, US consulate are also participation in education US fair. I think it's a great opportunity for all students who are planning for study in USA. Okay, so I think we have covered everything in this podcast, and I think it's a fantastic. Thank you so much for taking out time in this busy period, and we love to see you in India. We want to send you lots of students to California Baptist University. I think it's a best university for maybe you can say about if you are looking at the affordable university. If you want to come and explore the California culture, California weather, this is a fantastic university. It's you can say about it's a very friendly university because there is lots of international students are there, and you can talk to each and everyone. You can increase your communication skill, maybe your soft skill, and 98% OPT success ratio. That means jobs will be there. I think that's a fantastic university for all Indian students, and you know who to follow and how to follow. And if anyone is planning for abroad education, please forward this podcast to that. Thank you so much, Joe, for taking our session. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Take care.
I go.
Bye bye.